subsystem. So last week's session we discussed IT509 Web Technologies module, what we expect from this module. Basically, give you a knowledge in web technologies and applications. So we'll be discussing from the basics of, you know, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and also like PHP. So that's what we stand now. And then I have given you like two recommended steps. Like for example, you can follow if you're interested on the technology, you can follow something like business tools, which gives you a tutorial like interface for you to learn different technologies. But at the same time, if you are in a more theoretical aspect of this, that's the first one. Right. Okay. So last time we also discussed what is the work, and especially at the end of this module, as a group, you are going to work on creating education software system, and then we are going to use these different web technologies that we have discussed within the module to implement that one. Right. Okay. So let's start. Last time we discussed about very simple taxes and also like the technologies available for client side and the server side. We are going to discuss these technologies. And if time permits, I will also going to brief on your framework. Right. Okay. So we discussed about the structure of web page. First, with an example from the textbook, and there what we did, we focus on the structure of the web page. Now, when we talk about the structure of the web page, what we had, we use what we call tags, HTML elements, where we usually have both opening and closing, but some cases we have only a one. Right? And what we need to learn basically what are the tag elements and what it does, and how do you modify the behavior of these tags. Right? So that's what our discussion last. So having said that, we also look at the basic structure in HTML versus we start with the dot type, which describes that it's a HTML document. And not only that, then we also say the start of HTML and end of HTML, which is the HTML document. And once you have that, the next one is we define the two parts, the head of the document as well as the body part. And usually we know that the body is the one actually going to display, right? So whatever you include in the body part will be displayed as it is. And then usually the header we can use for various stuff. For example, we define our character set as UTF-8, which will support the Unicode, right? So, and then we also include the title for the page. Now, once we have this, we can have usually the meta tags, as I said earlier, like the character is defined with the Unicode. We can use for other meta tags as well. For example, we can include like author, keywords, publishing status, description, which search engine can use. So when you look at some typical web page, you see there are a lot of information. Right. And then we look at some HTML elements, and then we also discuss how to modify them, especially with what we call the attribute. For example, in this example, we discuss how to create a link, and the hyperreference attribute we provide the other source implicit value what to be right. And then when it comes to HTML elements, usually you can have like two types of blocks and line elements. Block element usually will have some space in between. Now, for example, header one, if one is level one header, and here is a paragraph. Usually, there will be these elements start with a new line. But some they are within this. Now, for example, if you take emphasis like EN block, so usually you say the how the behavior is, right? So these are one of the things that we want to discuss. So I told you that some elements you don't have ending where you have opening, ending, and some tags like image and giving a line break or simple rules as well as meta tag. You don't have any ending tag. So usually we say these are empty elements, which means you don't have any content, right? Because the content is will be included within this one. You will have all that. Right. So this will list like some of the important ones, basic elements we have discussed. Another thing that we have discussed is how to include the style attribute. Now, today's talk, I'm going to focus on the style sheet. That means how do you change the look of a particular font. Now, style is an attribute we can use with the HTML elements to include a style. For example, here, if you want to change the background color, you can say whatever the tag, you can have style, and then you can have two values separate with colon, property and the value. So for example, I can say, okay, background color is yellow. So we will set the background color of whatever the tag. Now, for example, if you say body, it will change the property of the body. Right? Similarly, color attributes could be used to change the text color, font family for the font and size, and text alignment, and sometimes you can specify border. So these are the style attributes available. Then HTML comments, usually sometimes if you want to have your own comments with the code itself, but you don't want to execute anything. Or sometimes you want to just neglect part of the HTML commands you already typed in, so use comment tag. So comment tags start with the exclamation mark to the two dashes and then include two dashes. Of course, you have to have that. The color information also we discussed last time. The colors can be represented in several ways with the direct name of the color, but remember that this is limited. And then you can use RGB value as the text value. So there are 6 digits here, and 2 digits represent one color. Right? So FF represents in hexadecimal notation 255, which is the maximum. So what it means, your red value is maximum, RG green is 0, and blue also 0, which represent this as same red maximum. Or else you can use RGC and then you can add like the value to get maximum. So all these are supported in XP. Then inclusion of images also we discussed. The tag is ING, the attribute SRC we can use to refer where the image is, and then alternate can be used to provide some alternate text, especially when image cannot be displayed. Now the three examples we look at it. The first one we assume that image is in the same place over the three cases, and then first one we have alternate text. The second one we change the width and height of the image using the style attribute. Second one, actually direct change of feature. Usually what we prefer is use of style, especially use of style. Then background images, usually change, you can have background image using CSS property. In CSS property, earlier we have seen, you will see we can use a style attribute, then we could have background image, and then we can provide the image. So the same thing can be done for example, in paragraph. So we change the background. Right. Then the name, we will have HREF, and then usually hyperreference will indicate where you are going to connect. And then we have a content that is our website. You will see a link where you can click. And then similarly, the link could be local. That means sometimes you can refer the document within the web page itself. So whenever you have target attribute, target blank, for example, what happens, the document will open in the new window. If you say cell with underscore, then it is in the same window. Underscore parent, it will open the link document in the parent frame. Underscore top, opens the link document in the full body view of the image. Similarly, images can also be used as links. You see a lot of most of the time in websites we have clickable images, the buttons especially using graphics where you can click it, you can link to another page. So the trick is we will use both INT and ATAG together. So within the ATAG content, if you replace it with the INT, so that will indicate an image. So they will be a clickable one. Right. The next thing, I think HTML tables we have not discussed, but I'll come to that one. But let me discuss what we have finished last time. The list. There are three different types of lists is possible, and you can use how to change the type of list. We have unordered list, especially when you want to a list with a symbol. There's no specific order. So the symbol can be changed by using a list type and list type type, and then we provide the different values. Depending on the value, you can actually change this symbol. But interestingly, later of the course, we will see this unordered list can be used. For example, you can have a list without any symbol at all, or we can have nice graphics. So here we don't have any uh, graphical elements, and here we have graphics. And even you can put into some menu structure like this, like you can put it as a set of buttons where you can click, or you can have it as a tab. Similar to the previous one, we can also create ordered lists, but in ordered lists, actually you specify some order, and then you can decide how you are going to represent the order with numbers, for example. In that particular case, the type attribute is 1, or you can have some uppercase English letters like capital A, capital B, capital C, then the type is 3. Next, you can have simple A, simple B, simple C, when you specify type as A, or you can use Roman numbers like to be capital or simple, so uppercase or lowercase. So depending on whether you use capital I or simple. So that's what we have in order. Right. And then we have what we call the description list. Usually description list starts with the DL tag, and then you can have term and all of the label as key, and you can have description or definition with ED. So that's what we could have. Right. Okay. So the same thing, I would like to continue from what we have done last time. I have given you some exercises using IT. So we have set the folder IT, and then yes, let me show you. So we can see here, right, right now, this is what we have. And then the folder, you can see we have hello world image and index. Um, so these are the pages that we have created last time, and then we had this black image we have downloaded from the web. And I have put the copy within the folder as well. And I told you sometimes when we keep the images, we keep the images in a separate folder like this, and then you may call it. So let's open up, just see what we have inside. I'm going to open this, let's see, Notepad. I prefer Notepad, but you can use any other editor. So in my case, I prefer Notepad. Let's say what we have index, and then hello world. And so these are the things that actually we have discussed last time, right? Uh, okay, so I go to index page. I hope you have this with you. Let me share that. Okay, this is a notepad window. Right. So now you can see this is what we have done last time. So let me show you the outcome as well. When you double click on index, and here is my outcome so far. Right, you can see now. Let me show you the. Okay, this is what I have right now. Right. I hope you remember everything. In case I can share the code, just let me know in the chat if you don't have the valid file here. So today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually, yes. So let me, uh, I'm going to change the bit. So let's see how we could do. Right. There's a request of sharing the code. Let me copy paste, control A, control C. I will put in your chat. So hopefully those who missed last time, you can just save this in a uh, document and you can work on the problem. Right now, simple stage I would like to discuss here. The first one is I will change the H1, H2 category into description list, right? Uh, we can have, and you can see how this will be changed. Right. Okay. So this is one of the things that we have done. The next one, We have worked on a couple of ideas last time. Yes, we have discussed the image. For example, those who didn't come last time, you can get the image from this link. So let me share that one as well. Right. Okay. Right. Um, let's move on. I would like to discuss a couple of ideas which I have not completed last time. The first one is actually we can talk about headers and footers, which is the idea of, uh, you know, for example, um, in a web page, you can separate out the content how it should look like, right? So that can be done with that. Okay. So yeah. So let me start with that part. Right. So let me start discussing that part. So I will first take, yes, we have a page with us. Okay. I told you like what I want to discuss is uh, based on a page, how we can actually keep, put the page content. Now, when you look at the page content, um, we will have to look at what are the content. Like when you say a content, it could be a paragraph, it could be a heading, it could be image, and so right. So earlier, before we have HTML5, we didn't have a way of grouping things, right? And what happened? There was a division element, div, which we will discuss later on. And then with the division, you can actually separate out the content. Now, when we have a web page, we can change the main content, we can have headers, we can have footers, sections, articles, navigation, and also we can have sidebars, address, and so on, right? Now, let me take a small example. So let's say we have, uh, let's say, we'll take a simple example. So from the previous one, we can have the doc type. Starting from there, we can type what we need to have here. So the starting point will be usually the doc type, and then HTML, we indicate that it is HTML5 document, and we have HTML, right? And then within that, okay, we have end with dash HTML, right? And within this, we can have head and body, head slash head. For the time being, I will put only the title, right? So then let's say header and footer, and then we can have slash title, right? So the next one is we can have the body element, and within this one, what you can have right now is you can separate out the header information. So when we have the main, right? So we can let's type something. Um, let's say we have IT509 So right now, what we are going to do, we will basically going to look at what we have. Yeah, we were here. So let's put X1. That means this is level 1 header slash X1. Right now, under this one, we are going to double click. And the idea that I'm actually going to type page content, page content, .html. I'm actually going to save it. Right now I can go here. So I have page content. I can double click it and it looks like this. Now I'm going to scroll change because H1 is I'm going to define it as a main content. So main is usually what we say unique content, right? So headers and footers, for example, which we discussed later on, could be appear in other places, but you know, it's different is in main section, right? So according to the specifications, you should have like one main content section, and you should not, combine this, right? Okay. So let me now change this. So I'm going to go back. So it's one. So this is H1. What I'm going to say here is I'm going to say this is me. And I can see this as class name. And I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to refresh. Which you don't see any difference. There's a slight difference here, but if you, for example, the information that we have put in there, slight difference, but other than that, you don't see anything. Right? Then we have headers and footers, right? Then in HTML5 now they support header element also. Usually within this we can have some logo information, header information, and then we can have navigation. So those will be the header section, right? And similar to that, we will have some footer as well, right? Now, let's say now in our case, we put up web technology. So in header section, let me take a separate one. I'm going to save as this same thing as header.html. And then with that, I'm going to change this as a header. So in this particular case, instead of main, I will put header, and it will end with that. So header, usually this part will appear in almost all the pages in the website, and then you can have some images as well, right. For example, let me copy paste some image just to show you like this works. So we have this image earlier that we have used. So let me take a copy of this. So let me put as the header. So before that, I can put this. So now within the header block, we have uh, image and the header one item, right? So that's normally what we have. So let me save it. Now let me go to the header. So when you double click it, so it looks like this. Now similar to that, you can have footers as well, right? Now footer section usually you will have at the end of uh, the HTML document. Now if I am going to take this, so let me put in the two pages so that you can see both. Right now you can see the both. So right now what I'm going to do now, this is the header. So let me uh, have some content. So whatever the content, you have to have it here. So I'm not going to put any content here, but usually, content of the web page, let's say, to come here, right? So after the content, usually at the end of this, you will have what we call the footer, and that is end with slash footer. Usually, footer means you can have copyright information, right? And then other relevant information which you are not going to have it later, right? So, for example, I can have just to say that okay, 2023. Okay, well, let's have copyright information. Let's say uh, okay, and copy, right? And then with and copy, let's say this is 2023. We say PPI right. So that's the simple one I have added. Like if I refresh it, now you can see it appears like the aim is you can going to have this in every page. But usually these text should appear small. So sometimes usually we use the tag small to have the size is slightly smaller than the body text, right? And even you can have it as a paragraph if you want. Right. Now, another thing that we can discuss is usually when we have long documents, you can actually change into different sections, right? Um, so, for example, we can talk about, um, let's say, we have, so we talk about this web page about the web technologies. Let's say we talk about like different sections. So we can put up these sections, especially if you put up this as a article, we can, make it as this. So that's also possible. So one way to do this is you can have header information and then you can say this is an article, right? So that term article normally should appear in the very beginning before the header information, right? Usually before the header information, right? You will have this, right? Now we have the header information here. So header, and then we have footer here, and then okay, we can make it an article. So usually, so then that should come within the body, because we are going to have everything within the body. So we can have it as an article. So let me put up it as an article first. So the idea of this is, it indicates that this is the long document where we can have also have sections. So right now we have three parts. So this is the main content, and this is the footer, and this is the body. Right now, let me introduce article as well. The article, so let me put that. So let me give some spaces so that you make it easier for you. So I will have just to indicate that this is within the article. So now we know there are a couple of spaces where we write. Okay, so we can include the main one as well. For example, this is the header. Let's include name, because we discussed earlier main. We can just after the header we can have main as well, because that is one unique thing here. So for example, we can have main, and then let's say we have two, let's say and then I will have that. Right. So now I think we have everything. So we have a header, we have main, right? So main usually unique for the page, and then yeah, content you can have whatever you have. Okay, so right now I think I have put everything together. So let me copy paste over this in case if you miss some of the things. So I have shared you what I have included so far. So let me save it. Let me refresh it. Okay, now you can see how it looks like here, right? We have defined it. Now I can create some sections as well, because we have now main, we have head, we have main, we have footer. You can have some sections as well. So for example, let me create a section like I'm going to talk about, let's say, right, H2 in section, let's say I'm going to talk about, okay, HTML. This could be one of the sections that I'm going to have, slash section. Let's include another one, section. So this time I'm going to have, let's say, H2 CSS, another section, right? Very long document. You might see this as well. Right now we don't have any content, but you can see, these, new text is used uh, in HTML5, right? Now, I I told you like the article, you can have sections, you can have headers. Uh, for example, you can also have what we call the navigation. Now, navigations for nav element usually identify what is the navigation. right? Um, so, for example, we can have different sections and we can provide navigation to that, right? So, how we look at it, we have change in the CSS, but right now, since we are putting up this structure, we can have navigation as well. Now, for example, in previous one, within the header, we can specify, right? What pages we have, right? So if I go back to my header, right after this, we can have navigation. We define as nav. So within the header, we have navigation, and then we add this slash navigation. Now, simply navigation, we put it as usually we put it as unordered list. So if you remember how we put those, we can have unordered list, and it's also end with unordered. And then we can have some list items. Li, for example, I can say okay, a href. We have put up where to connect, but for the time being, just I will put empty. So I will say home slash a slash li. So if I save this and if I refresh, and this is how it looks like. It just we have not put up where to connect, right? If you want, we can put up say index one. So let's say index. So it will it will connect to the index page, right? So you see the navigation is now more clearer compared to what we have right. Okay. So that is another addition what we got in HTML5. So we discussed a couple of ideas again, especially how to organizing the page content. We discussed the main content. We discussed header, footer, article. We discussed the sections, head and footer, and navigation so far. Now we can also talk about addresses and also sidebars. We say aside, like for example, what we uh, have separately now. That means when we have a page separately, we can have. So now aside could be used in different places, but simply that is separated from what we have, right? So maybe after the main, after the section, maybe we can have a side, which is creator sidebar. So let's say a side, these are sidebars. So let me put. Again, remember we have not actually going to create this. So separately, we have to specify with the CSS how we have uh, the display of the size of the sidebar, right? We say resources. So let me see that. So simply it is creator sidebar, right? So usually you can have list of links, right? Anything that you want to, but it's not related to the document. You can actually put aside. So that is what aside means, right? Right now you don't see anything different, but when you refresh, it just show resources. But with the CSS, we can separate out our main content with the site, right? So you have to use style sheet to make it clear that I will discuss later on how you actually do this. Right. Finally, the contact information usually we can have address, We can create, separate area for contact information. For example, who is maintaining this, website. Uh, uh, Usually, we will have with the footer element, right? Um, so with that, we can actually keep it somewhere that you want to have it in the text, right? So that's how usually we can actually keep. Right. I think the main ones we discussed so far, and then I hope you got a basic idea of what is how the page contains uh, with the HTML. So especially we discussed about the structure of uh, uh, the page. Right. I think now we'll talk about like some exercise on our page. So I will give you some text and then we'll modify so that we are comfortable with that, right? So let me give you a copy paste of this and let's edit so that it looks good, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste the text first and then we'll work on the page. Right? Just copy paste this into a new file. So I'm going to take a new tab. I will paste this, right? Right now, you don't see anything at all, but let me put some spaces in between because spaces are not included. So it should look like this. The back view is so news, and then let's put up a space. Then we have home, menu, news, and contact. Okay. So summer menu item, we have one. Then appetizers, we have another one. Then once after this southwestern, we have another space input it. Then we have main courses. I am going to separate out this. And then we have some news items, print, jerk, low and slow, right? And then there's a paragraph which I'm going to separate out. Then we have a location information. I will separate out. And finally, all content copyrighted, right? So this is how I put up the page. Right. Now let's start on working on this. Um, we have to add doc type, right? So HTML document. So let's put up this. We will put up the doc type. We already discussed this earlier. So let's start putting up the structure first. So when you're putting up the structure, you start with the doc type, then header. That information you can. So let's start. So we can say we have doc type, and then we have HTML, And at the end also we have to say slash HTML. So that part done. Let's save it. So let me say that so new, right? I can save it as bistro new. So now if I go here, I have bistro news here. When I double click it, currently the page look like this. So let's go one at a time, right? So we'll put up the value. So we need to have HTML head. So let's put up the value, right? And meta information that we have discussed. So let me copy from previous. Let's see, meta information header, right? Information after the copy. So we have head, meta information, the character set we have to do here. Okay, I'm going to copy paste the same title, right?
And we can finish head. Okay, next we'll start with body, right? And we should end with body. So I will put body. So let me save it. Let's look at how it looks like. So this is right now what I have. So when I refresh it, now you can see how it look like. Still, you don't see any logic here. So let's put up a header tag here. So let me put this as h1 slash h1. So the right now, when I do this, you can see it's a block element. There'll be a new line is added and all the other comes down, right? Now, you know that the last one is a navigation. If you go back just to see what we have done. So the navigation we started with now and then UL and LI. So we can do the same here. So we can say this is navigation now. And then we usually create unordered list. Well, and then we have a list item. So I'm going to have home slash li. So I can include the same for the other three, right? Okay. So we put up in this form. And finally, we will say slash ul slash navigation. And each here we have to end with slash li. So let me save. Let's refresh. So we have the elements here. Right. Now, what we are going to do next is we are trying to identify what articles are here. So the right now we have some menu items. You can see its related content, right? That is one of them. Then low and slow. So you can see posted by, and there's date information here, which indicates that they are different articles. So what we can do is within this, we can specify article. And if you remember what we did, so we had some article information. So in our previous one, so you remember we put article and then we can have some header information, right? So let's put up several articles here. So what we are going to do is we will separate this as different articles. So summer menu item is one article, right? So what we can do is we can say article, right? That is one. And we can end up until here. We can have slash article. And then we will have article. Now this time it's low and slow. That will end up here. So now we have identified two articles within the document. Right. Now the next one is header for each article. So now you can see we can have header element for each of these, right? And let's put up this as H1. We can have H2. We took earlier H1. So let's put up slash H2, right? And then we will say this is the header information, right? This is header. Maybe we can include this one as well. So let's put slash header. So similar thing we can do for the next article as well. We can put up article header. So this is the article. So low and slow. And let's say slash H2. And then we have change the header as well, slash header. So let me save this. Right, let me save. Let me refresh now. So you can see now within this we have two articles. So what we have done so far is within the document, we have identified two articles, right? This is the navigation. So the two articles, and then we actually separate them, right? Now, each of these are what we call the sections, right? The right now, after the header, we have simple paragraph, right? So we can put them as sections. Right? So the next thing that we are going to do, we are going to put up into different sections, right? So the sections we can separate out. Now, after the header, we have a simple paragraph. Our chef has been busy putting together perfect menu for summer months. Stop by, try these appetizers and main courses. You see, the appetizer, now it's a separate section. So the best would be like you put up sections here, right? So we can put up like this. And here we can have them as sections. So the first section is here, section, right? And then ends with here, slash section. That means within the article, we are defining some sections. So here we have another section, right? And then we end with section, right? So when I refresh it, now you can see, although you don't see the large difference, we have made a change of the different sections. So these could be, we can mark it as paragraphs. So for example, now so far what we did, this is a paragraph. So we can say P to say that this is paragraph slash P section appetizer. We can have a, let's say H3 slash H3. Then we can have, we can put a paragraph. So these are paragraphs. So this is one paragraph. This is another paragraph. This is another paragraph. So let's see now how it look like. So you can have summer menu item, posted, chef, this is paragraph. So here are like some paragraph. Okay, now here also we have to define main courses. Let's change that. So within this, let's put this is H3 and slash H3. And then within this, I can put some paragraphs. So this is one paragraph. Slash P. And here another paragraph. Slash P. So now when you refresh it, you can see summer menu items, right? Within that, we have appetizer, main course. Now it's separated nicely. Right. Okay. Now, few things I want to discuss here. Now, when you are going to work with styles, we want to separate out some of these some of these parts. Right now, for example, we have separated the sections, but remember we need to identify these sections separately. So the usual technique that we have used for this is we use some ID attribute, right? So let me go change that now. So the first one is what we have is appetizers. This is the section. So I will put something like this, and then you will see why we did it later on. So I will put this as appetizers, right? And this is the naming the section. And similarly, this section, I'm going to put up an ID, because this ID could be used next time when we use style sheets to have a unique change, or you can actually specify particularly in this section. So that is possible. So this one we will say main course. Remember, no space. We will say main course, right? No changes in the appearance, but later on, when we work with the look and feel of this, we can actually change this. Now, similarly, the price information. Now here you can see a couple of price information. Now, when you want to have or modify this, better we identify them separately, right? So the trick that we are going to use is for each of these price tags, we can say price. We want to separate it as files. So we will say tag called span tag, which we can use to separate out this, what we call inline left, right? Okay, so let's put up slash span as well. And then we can have span so this is what we call inline. And then if you want, we can have ID as well. So we can have some way to style this as well. So that is also possible, right? So we can use span, and then we can specify ID if you want. So one thing is we can say span ID, I can say price. So we can actually change the look and feel later on. So similar here, I will say span, I will say ID equal price, and then we can have slash span, right? There are a couple of more places we can put span. And we will have slash span, right? Here also we have another place. can have span. Right. So now what we did is we classify each of these price as using span elements. Right. Okay. Can I see how many of you have finished up to this one? Okay. So what I did right now, I actually changed this to description list. Right now we have changed what is inside the appetizers. So we make these two as description list. So now it should look like this. We have separated the two. So same thing we can do for this one as well. So main course. So I will come here. We have main course. So instead of here, we will put description list. And then we have description title. So we have finished here with /dt. Then we have description data. And I will finish here /. I will remove paragraph here. So we need not that. And then this one again, description title. And this is /dt. And then here we have /dd. And before this, we have /dd and /dl, right? So let's put up. Okay, now you can see we have actually changed the look and feel here as well. Yeah, Prasanga mentioned about like extra P, but actually I have used paragraph in the beginning as well, right? Can you double check? Or you had to remove both. So before the DL also I put a paragraph here. So maybe then you don't include as a paragraph. So if you want to remove it, you have to remove both. Then I can remove this one as well as this. So I hope that is what you meant, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there's no change. So if you want to do the same, so previously also we have paragraph, I can remove that where I keep only the description list. Yes. So I instead of paragraph, I have removed the paragraph tags and then now I put up as description list. Right. Now, here two places we have new items. So here new item and here also new item. We can highlight for this. So when you highlight again, there are many ways that you can do that. A simple way to do use emphasizing this one. So we can use EM and then /EM. So let me save it, refresh it. Yes.
Doctor, is one question.
Yes.
Doctor, when we add in that ID likewise, when we do the naming convention, are there any proper practice way, or are there any way that means like a camel case or something like that we have to use, or we can use just as normal? Are there any good practices that we can?
Prasanka's question is like the naming of
Yeah, I tags. Yeah, that sections
Um,
ID likewise. Just I curious about that. I just asked.
I mean, it depends. The right now, if I go by the book that I have recommended, they have not used any cases. They have used all lowercase letters, right? Camel cases are used. For example, remember like main course I have put up this as a single word. So some places you can use camel cases with capital N and capital M, capital C for your reference. But different, organization, they have their own style. Right now, how I use normally is I use all lowercase letters. But there's no standard saying that, okay, you should do this. But it should be consistent. But the idea is you should not mix. Some places you use camel cases, some places you lower cases. You should not, mix that. But you can fix it to one way of, writing the names for this.
Okay, doctor. Thank
Yeah.
you, doctor.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so let's, I think almost we have done. We can mark couple of places. So for example, the last items, if you look at, we have some location information, as well as we have a number of hours they have opening. So we can put it to, I mean, separate them. So you can have a footer, which indicates that's the part of the footer, and then we can also have some paragraph within this, right? Okay, so let's see. So if you look at the footer information, that is somewhere here, right? If you look at carefully, so that indicates the footer information. If you remember that, you can say starting from here, we can say footer. And then this will be the slash footer then. So let me save. Nothing much, you don't see it, but let's separate them, right? So what we could do is you can have paragraphs. So for example, location, I can put it as a paragraph slash p. Hours, again, another paragraph slash p. All content copyright, another paragraph, we can have slash p. Yeah. So I can refresh it. So it looks like this. Copyright information, if you remember, if you go by what we did last time, so we can have small and copy. So let me copy from here, which gives you so I will put slash small as well. So looks then with copyright symbol. We can refresh it. Okay. Now this is what we have right now. Or maybe you can say, okay, all content, we'll put this here instead of this. Let's put it here, the copyright word. Let's replace that. That's the best place we need to put. Right. Okay. So one thing that you can do is we can give some line break for location and number of hours just to separate out. So let's put some BR here. Then, yeah, some line breaks. So you can see now appear them in the same line. Right. I think I have actually planned to finish the forms as well, but I think this could took some time, but I think that's okay. So that so the next time we can actually, change the look and feel with the style sheets, and we need this. So make sure that you have complete the documents and ready for the next time. Right, let me double check whether I have missed anything. Okay, so one additional thing before I miss is I can give some division element for these two. The reason for the div element or like span is we can actually separate them. So ID, I will say about. Right. and then I will put /d. No change, but you will see that this is important for us. I think that's all what we have, right? I think we discussed, the main discussion that we held is the content available in a page, and especially what we got from HTML5 page content. Especially we look at so how we set up articles, the sections, the headers and footers, the main content, navigation. So we discuss important parts. So when we look at this with the style sheets, you will understand. We can especially, we can give different context to these different parts available in the web page. So what we have, one thing left, actually, the forms. Hopefully I will do it next week. So we will complete the forms part, so that we complete the HTML, and then we can move on to CSS. Right. Before we finish, do you have anything else